Detroit City Council voted to assemble a commission to advocate for renters' rights.
But renters in Detroit aren't the only ones who have been banding together. Ann Arbor established a renters commission about 3 years ago to tackle some similar issues. Joining us tonight is Ann Arbor's Renters Commission chairperson, Rosanita Ratcliffe. Thanks for being here today, Rosanita.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me about some of the issues. What are the primary issues that you guys have been dealing with on the commission over in Ann Arbor?
Well, the first issue that was dealt with, that they started dealing with, was a little bit before my time, and that was we call it the early leasing ordinance, or the right to renew. And in that case, you know, you could sign your lease, and then within like 60 days, 70 days, having moved in, your landlord would come with someone who was looking at your apartment for the next year. And so the Renters Commission, along with the City Council and other groups, worked together in order to create an ordinance for that. And then they recently updated that particular ordinance. Currently, one of our main focuses is on what we call junk fees, not just like an application fee, but also we have wait list fees, um, in some cases, excessive pet deposits, fees that are hidden that you don't necessarily know that you have until after you've signed the lease or you're getting ready to move out, has also been an issue here that we're working on an ordinance for.
Can you talk to us about the idea to create this commission 3 years ago? What were some of the major problems that made you all see that something else was needed to advocate for renters?
Well, I have to say that I in particular wasn't here when the commission itself was created. But from what I understand is that, again, we had issues in terms of a, a higher than, was it, people who were very behind in rent because of the increased rental costs, the increased fees that people were seeing. We had landlords who weren't responsive to, say, maintenance requests. Um, we had extremely difficult students were having a hard time attaching to rentals, having to apply to like 6, 7 units or apartment complexes, having to pay an application fee for each complex in addition to a wait list fee. So you might have to pay like $6,000 to just to be on a wait list. And those were some of the issues that renters were having. We also had problems with the right to renew, where you could be in an apartment for a year, 2 years, and just never know if you were going to be able to renew your lease. Also, people who held HUD vouchers or housing choice vouchers were also having problems attaching to housing, um, as well, because where there were landlords who just didn't want to take those particular vouchers, or people who had um, criminal histories as well.
So as we mentioned, Detroit has a commission that's being established now. So this is starting to become more common. So say you live in an area like Ann Arbor or soon in Detroit, and you have an issue with your landlord. Can you explain how that process works? Do you go straight to the commission and just ask for some advice? Will someone from the commission actually help you out, or how does that work?
Well, normally, you try to resolve it with the landlord first, right? But then there are cases where you just can't. And in some cases, we'll get emails or letters from people who are having issues with a particular landlord, in which case, while we can't represent someone in a legal case, what we can do is direct them to a particular resource that's available within the community. We also take into account what those complaints are in terms of what we as a commission should be focusing on and what we should be talking with our city council members about and really advocating for in terms of legislation by our council members.
Now, in terms of the people of Detroit, what can they expect looking forward to this commission being brought here? What sorts of resources could be available to them?
Really, I think, to me, the best part about the commission is that you are able to talk one-on-one or as a well, 10 on one or 10 on two, I should say, because we have two city council members who are non-voting members of the commission. And we also have our city attorney, one of our city attorneys who attends the meetings. And so I think that for renters and people who are on the commission, that is a huge thing to be able to look forward to, is that you actually have the ear of people who want to listen and who want to put forward legislation to make it easier for renters, to make it more fair for renters. Not to say that we don't take into consideration landlords, but our main focus really is on renters, and that I think is a difference that they're going to see.
Sure. Easier and fairer. I think that's something everyone can get behind. Rosanita Ratcliffe from the Ann Arbor Renters Commission, thank you so much for joining us today.